today I'm going to show you how to use AI to practice your Dutch, right? The title is very clear. First of all, disclaimer, I'm not an AI expert. It's just things I just found out myself by testing, by that helping my students. I'm a Dutch teacher to do their tasks, to prepare them better in my classes. So I think it's relevant for everybody, even if you're not doing classes with me, but it's also relevant for people who are in class with me, because I think AI and especially ChatGPT is a very, very practical tool to practice your Dutch, especially when you want to prepare yourself for something. Yeah. Welcome, Dominique. I've just started. All right. So who am I? So I'm Marieke de Witte. I'm the founder of the Dutch Club, and I teach Dutch to professionals who need it for their job. Yeah. I'm an AI enthusiast, and I also create e-learnings. So I'm used to create didactical examples, like to practice on whatever topic. So that's something I like to do as well. Which is very handy when you want to yeah, but and that's also a thing when you have to create that. It's having the tool as AI is a very practical tool for that. Yeah. But first, who are you? I'm gonna use a tool. If it's possible, try to wait just a second, because it didn't. Let me quickly go back, because I think I used the wrong presentation. What's this one? Yeah, okay. I already did this one before, and the results are still there. Okay, so the question I have for you is, are you new to AI? So what can you do? There is everybody's answering. So there's a tool, it's called WooClap, and you can on your smartphone go to wooclap.com, and there's a code you can enter, and then you can join and say and answer these questions. Yeah, welcome, Adam. I've just started. So so I was wondering, how much do you know already about AI? You can use the tool WooClap. Sorry, yeah, WooClap, and use this code. I'll post it in the chat. Maybe that's easier as well to answer. Let me know if that works for you. So this is the code, and this is okay. Already, I saw that already somebody answered. Okay, so okay, someone is using it on a daily basis. Okay, two people, they have tried some things, and there's a beginner. All right. There's one person more, also a beginner. Yes. Okay, very good. So I just explained that I'm not an AI expert. I'm just a Dutch teacher trying to get the most out of the AI tools in the context of my classes. Yeah. And I say, Adam says, I usually use AI to make a simple test using few words I have just learned. Yes, okay. Well, that's also a very practical thing to do. Indeed, it doesn't always have to be complex things. All right. Great. Okay, most of you are beginners. Very good. So, next slide. So what will you be able to do after this session? So I focus on okay, after the session, you will be able to correct your grammar mistakes. You will be able to know more how you can practice your listening and speaking. How AI can help you with reading and writing, and also how to improve your pronunciation. Yeah. Just a disclaimer as well, AI is not a miracle wonder. There are a lot of benefits to it, but there are also some tools where I think, okay, that doesn't really work that well yet. Yeah, so that's something to bear in mind. Okay, so the tools I'm gonna talk about today, there are many other tools, but the ones that I want to show you are ChatGPT, of course. Yeah. And then co-pilots. Do you know co-pilots? Can just unmute if you do. Who has worked with co-pilots already?
There's a copilot for coding, but I don't think it's the one you mean.
No.
Okay.
No, the general one.
In Bing, sometimes when I ask a question, it decides to open Copilot for me.
Yes, and this is logical. Yeah.
Yeah, so sometimes it's useful, sometimes it's not.
Yeah, so it's from Microsoft. That's why it's probably Andrea, you used it for programming, and it's in Bing because it's from Microsoft. Yeah, ChatGPT comes from the company OpenAI. It's called. It's very. It's not open source. It sounds like that, but it's not open source. It is a company. And there's also, of course, for example, Natural Reader and Nota and many other tools. They all are tools based around the technology of ChatGPT. Yeah, so say ChatGPT is like the mother source, and all the other tools they're trying to build on specific technology on top of that. Yeah. Yeah, so Adam, okay, yeah, please correct me if I'm not an expert on AI, so if you know more about it than me, just share it in the chats or say it. Copilot also uses also ChatGPT for free. Yeah, okay, so it's also based on the same technology. All right, so what I want to do today is I've looked at the 8 AI tools from the perspective of, okay, how can I use it to improve my reading, my writing, my listening, my speaking, and also grammar and vocab. Yeah. Let me see if this works. No. I had some trouble getting the video inside. Just let me see if I can quickly find the video, because this is important. Yeah, it's in Dutch, and it's a father boterham met je. It's a father that teaches his son how to program. Yeah, and we're not going to program with ChatGPT, but ChatGPT is a program. Yeah, so you will see what I mean when I show you what happens here. So the father asked his son to give him the instructions how to how do you spread your sandwich, how to put chocolate paste on a piece of sandwich. Yeah, so and you will see what will happen. Yeah, so the son wrote down some instructions, and the father is gonna execute them. Yeah, so let's see what happens.
Ik ben benieuwd. En ben je klaar?
Can you hear the audio?
Yes.
Ja.
Hoeveel stappen heb je?
5.
5 stappen. Oh, ik zal ze eens overlopen en zien dat ik met jou een boterham kan smeren. Stap 1, 2 boterhammen pakken in een mes.
So step 1, take 2 sandwiches and a knife.
Ik zal weer helpen. De zak is al open. Want eigenlijk 2 boterhammen pakken en een mes. Draai de chocopot open. En steek je mes in de pot. Ga met je mes over de boterhammen. Pak de andere boterham en leg die op de andere boterham. En neem de boterham vast en steek die in je mond.
Okay, so you see what I mean? The son gave instructions, but what happens? Yeah, he said, go with your knife over the sandwich, but yeah, the verb was not precise enough. He said, go with your knife. Okay, the father does it, but it doesn't really spread the chocolate paste over on top of it. And that's a bit what we have to bear in mind when we talk to ChatGPT, because we have to make sure that the program understands what we want, right? So let's go back to presentation. So if you're putting very vague and simple questions in the ChatGPT, you will get garbage out. You will get also not very precise, or not the things that you really want to hear from it. So I asked ChatGPT itself, yeah, okay, but what is a good prompt? The prompt is the instruction that you give to it, yeah. And I asked it, okay, do it in the context of language teaching, of teaching Dutch. So example, if you want to learn Dutch, and your prompt has to be clear and precise, then a good prompt would be provide a list of 10. You want 10 phrases used in daily conversation, include the translation in English, and on when to use. Yeah, so that's a very clear and precise instruction. Yeah. The second thing, role prompting. So you have to tell the machine, let's say ChatGPT is a machine, who he is, because he doesn't know who he is. So you have to say to the machine, you are an experienced Dutch language teacher, and you have many years of experience. And then of course you can add many things. For example, you're very good in negotiations, if you want to practice on that. So whatever kind of role you give ChatGPT, it will give you a different outcome when you ask its questions. So here, for example, it says explain the rules of de en het, including exceptions and so on. Yeah, this is, in my opinion, a very it's just one example, but when I give ChatGPT a role, I write like a whole paragraph. Yeah, so the more information you give it, the better the outcome will be. Yeah, and then you can also give examples so that ChatGPT knows what you really mean. Yeah, so then you can give one shot prompt, so one example, or a few shots, and you give it several examples. Yeah, and then after that you give the examples, you ask it what he has to do with it. Yeah. Yeah, and here you see, now tell me how to say they are running in Dutch. Okay. The fourth one is start with the most simplest thing, and then make it more complex. Yeah. So here in this case, list numbers from 1 to 10, and then explain me how to form the numbers from 11 to 20. Okay. Or it could also be like first explain me the most important basic grammar point for a beginner, and then tell me what the next more complex grammar items would be, for example. Yeah. Then the fifth point is you structure it a bit. Yeah. So in this case, tree of thoughts. Start by explaining the basic sentence structure in Dutch. Yeah. And then describe how to form the negative sentences. So you give it the structure, like how he has to structure the information to you. Yeah. Imagine that you ask it like a very complex thing, then with a lot of things, like for example here, it gave me 10 different prompts. Yeah. But I want to go more in depth on this 5th point. Yeah. So it will always, it will not give you all the information in one go. It will give you the information step by step. So it gives you a whole list. Then if you say, number 5 is interesting, then you can go more in depth on each topic. Yeah. So it always goes deeper and deeper. Yeah. But you cannot ask it to give you all the information in one go. Yeah. It would also be very difficult to yeah, get all that information and do something with it. Yeah. All right. So, and then here, external knowledge. Yeah. So here you can say, yeah, use the most recent Dutch language resources from 2023. Yeah. So ask it to use specific resources. Yeah. The downside of it is that you cannot give it like a link to a website or to a research paper and say, okay, here's the link to this research paper, go through it and tell me something. No, that doesn't work. It doesn't read external links. Yeah. What you can do is like copy paste the information and put it in here. But that's already, that's where you reach the limits of the free or like ChatGPT. Yeah. There you go. And then you can also just adjust the LLM setting. So LLM is the learning language. Forgot the meaning of M. Anyway, it's the ChatGPT is an LLM. So you have to give it more information about like what kind of type of language you want it to give. Yeah. The way when we tell a story, it will be different than when we write a research paper, right? So the tone of voice, that's the tone of voice they're talking about. And then iterative refinement. So that's what I said before. You ask it a question, yeah, and then you can more. You can go more in depth. So you will always fine tune the answer. Yeah. So this is something you have to bear in mind when you want to practice your Dutch using ChatGPT. Yeah. So I looked at first reading and I thought, okay, how can you practice reading? So most of the time you will go to a teacher, the teacher will give you homework and she will give you, or he will give you a kind of task to do for your reading. So I thought, okay, what if I'm not there and I don't give you the task? Then it's up to you to think of a task, or you can ask ChatGPT to help you with a specific task. Yeah. So here are some ideas that you can ask ChatGPT to help you with to help you with reading. Very simple one. You can ask it, create a new text on this topic. Yeah. And then you could also refine it and say, okay, summarize the text. And of course, ChatGPT can do everything for you, but the main idea is that you also try to summarize that text and then you compare your answer with the answer of ChatGPT. Yeah, so that you can have an idea, did I understand everything of this text? And if not, you can ask it. Same thing with formulating an opinion. Yeah, you can also ask ChatGPT to formulate an opinion and compare your opinion with the opinion of ChatGPT. You can ask ChatGPT to ask you open questions about the text. Yeah, so really act as a tutor, like a teacher. Yeah. You can ask true or false statements for text. So just to test you on, did I get it? What is in the text? You could also ask invent new titles. That's also a good way to check if you understood the essence of the text. Create a title, and also compare it with what title you created. Yeah. And then I have three specific ones: ABCD questions, dialogue based on the topic, and reading bits. Let's go into that. So what's ABCD questions? So you see here, when you read, in this case, it's a book. Yeah, imagine you're reading a book. You can ask or let ChatGPT help you by asking this or using this method to interrogate you about the book. Yeah. So these are the questions ChatGPT could ask you. Yeah. So here the main thing is you have to give the instruction to ChatGPT to use this method to test it on you. Yeah. So here is like, yeah, ask, begin to analyze. So this is you have to talk more about the main character, what did the person do. Then consider and connect. How does this story remind you of something in your own life? So this is where you have to make the link to your own life and the book, and try to describe it. And then you can go deeper. Yeah. So another method is reading bits. Reading bits is especially used with lower levels of Dutch, where you're not gonna read the whole text because it's too much in one time. So you're gonna focus on little segments. So also here you can ask ChatGPT to give you or like give it a segment. Yeah, you can copy paste the segment yourself, or you can ask ChatGPT, okay, this is my text. Let us focus on one segment, and then, for example, focus on the vocab and the phrases on that segment. Yeah, give me the most important vocab of this segment. Yeah, and translate it to English, so you have a good idea of what is in the text. Also the same thing with questions. Interrogate me, give me a question, ask me a question about the segment, so I get what is in the text. Or provide me with audio or an image. Yeah, some people are visual learners. They prefer to have an image when they want to learn. More on that later. And if you really want to do exercises like you would have in a book, you can just ask ChatGPT, okay, this is the text, create a filling in the blanks exercise for this text with the focus on the present tense, for example, or with the focus on the most important vocab of the text. Yeah. So these are all things you can ask ChatGPT to help you with. Yeah. Matching exercises. Yeah. Same thing. What word matches the other word? Or you have a sentence, reorder the words, so you can make the focus on the structuring the sentence, and so on. A good website to use if you don't know where to start, the website of VRT, the Flemish Radio and Television website. They have good articles, a lot of good vocab, and it's for free, so you can use it. You can also see the different topics, culture and media, your life, environment and climate. So you can have articles on different topics there to use. Okay, so just like I said, if you use an external link, yeah, it doesn't read. So you have to copy paste the text from the article. In Copilot, you can use the link, although a few days ago I tested it on Copilot. I didn't have the time anymore today to test it again. I have to double check, but in Copilot, you can use the link and it will read the link and give you the information. So in this case, for example, here I asked it to give me the most important vocab words of this article with the translation in English, and also give me an example sentence. So this is also very interesting. If you just have lists of words and translated words, it doesn't really work because you don't know in what context they are used. And some words you can have a different meaning in a different context. Yeah. So always give, and here, for example, I was not clear. I said, give me an example sentences, but my bad instruction was give it in Dutch. So I didn't say give it in Dutch. It gave me the example sentence in English, which was not what I wanted. All right, a matching exercise. So here I asked it to make a matching exercise. Also, the first time I did it, it didn't come out what I wanted. So I refined it a bit, and then I said, okay, give it also. This is also very interesting. Say it. You want it in a table, and it will give you a table. So it's clearer to do so. In Copilot, for example, then I continued and I said, okay, use these sentences to create a dialogue. Because imagine you have a meeting, you're working in a company for solar panels, and you have a meeting with a client next day, and it's going to be in Dutch, and you want to practice the conversation with that client. Yeah. So so here I said, okay, have a dialogue between two people about this topic. Use the sentence, use the words from the article, and one person is for and the other one is against. So that's in this case, for example, you can identify yourself with one person who is against, and for example, the other person will have some counter arguments, so that will help you prepare already a bit the conversation. Yeah. Okay, so that was about reading. And you see, I started with reading, but you can go to speaking. Practicing a dialogue is already going from reading to speaking. Yeah. If the focus is on writing, yeah, of course you can ask it to write an essay about a specific topic. You can ask about famous quotes in Dutch. You can ask about words to make it into a sentence, like link words is, for example, when you want to talk something, signaalwoorden or conjuncties, maybe that's a clearer word, but those are the words like daardoor, alhoewel, zodat, so the words that link one paragraph to another. Yeah. So that you have like one whole ID. Yeah. So so this is something you can ask to ChatGPT, like, okay, give me a text and focus on the link words, or leave out the link words and let me fill in the link words. That would be a very interesting exercise, especially for a higher level. And then I have some other methods, scriptorium, forward opinions, and creative writing. Let's go into that. Scriptorium is, yeah, it's not as very difficult method, but it's very simple. You take a sentence with some vocab or some grammar, specific grammar in it, and you're just gonna copy it. But you write it, you don't type it, you write it. And because they always say when you write it, it's easier for your brain to remember the words than typing it. Because it's a physical exercise. And then before you write it, you read the sentence out loud. Yeah. You write it. Then while you're writing it, you say each word out loud. And then after writing, you read it out loud again. Yeah. So so here you could just ask ChatGPT to help you with selecting the difficult sentences in a specific text. Or, and then that's something I wasn't able to put it into the slides, but if you have ChatGPT on your phone, I want you to open it, and I'll try to show it here. So I'm using ChatGPT 4, so that's the paid version. I'm not sure anymore. Let me quickly check if the free version 3.5 also has that option now, because it changes so fast. Let me quickly check. So if you open ChatGPT, you have on the bottom right an icon of a headset. Yeah. So if you click on it, you can you will see there's an audio recorder opening, and you can start talking to ChatGPT. So that's a new feature, and now it's listening.
And it sure is. If you have any questions or need help with something, feel free to ask. Whether it's about Dutch, your interests in technology and travel, or anything else, I'm here to help.
And now I can ask it some specific questions, like, for example, I want to practice my Dutch with you, and I will ask you a question in Dutch, and you have to answer me in Dutch. Okay?
Absolutely. Go ahead and ask your question in Dutch, and I'll respond in Dutch to help you practice.
Oké, dus mijn eerste vraag is, hoe gaat het met jou?
Het gaat goed met mij, dank je. En met jou, Mariken, hoe gaat het?
Okay, and so I can go on with that. I think it's pretty good, although the pronunciation is more Dutch from the Netherlands. I'm from Belgium. For me, it sounds very Netherlands Dutch, but it's very practical. What I did notice is it's talking really fast, so I really have to say to it, if I can imagine if I'm like a beginner in Dutch, I would not understand what he is saying in Dutch, because it's going too fast. So just before my presentation, I just tested it, and I asked it to speak slower, and it didn't really speak that slower. I also asked it to speak in a more simpler Dutch. It did that a bit, but it was still, in my opinion, fast and not so simple. Of course, probably if I would give it more instructions, like act as if I'm a 8-year-old learning Dutch, using simple words, it would probably go much simpler than that. So that is also a good tip. That say to ChatGPT to talk to you like an 8-year-old, but tell it also that you're not an 8-year-old, that you're, for example, a professional in solar panels. So the topic has to still stay it has to go about I'm talking Dutch in English. It has to the topics has to still talk about professional topics, but the language has to be much simpler. Yeah, if you only say talk to me like an 8-year-old, he will also adapt the sentences to, do you want to play now? For example. So that's not what you want. Yeah. All right. So another method. This is, by the way, a website, if you're a beginner, that you can use, that has exercises and articles and videos specifically for people learning Dutch. So this could also be a good resource to use when you're practicing. So what did I do here? Yeah, this is I asked ChatGPT to use the methods the ABC, what was it? Forgot. The scriptorum methods in this case. So here I said this is the article. Use this method, the scriptorum method on it, and help me with the method. Yeah. So you see, he already took some example vocab out of the article. All right, another question you can ask. Okay, this is a text, an article or something else, and imagine you have to formulate your own opinion on it. It's easier when you ask ChatGPT to formulate 4 different opinions about it, so you can formulate your own opinion based on those 4 other ones. Yeah, and you can use the way he describes to formulate your own opinion. So I did this here also I did it with a text on VRT News. And you see, I didn't say anything about the difficulty of the language. In my opinion, this is already very, this is for a high level. So I also asked, okay, I'm an A1 level. Can you reformulate these opinions? And you see, it's much clearer and simpler. Yeah, so you can use it for any level. Yeah. Yesterday I attended a seminar and there a scientist, a professor on the language, he talked about some research that was being done. I don't have the slides yet, so I can't remember what research specifically it was, but it said that it's specifically for lower levels interesting, the DZI tools, because from the moment you're a higher level, yeah, it gets more difficult to use ChatGPT to practice. Yeah, that was what the research said. Okay, so imagine you want to, by the way, maybe you noticed it. I used, it was not me. I mean, I was talking to ChatGPT, but here already you see I created a specific ChatGPT person to help me with these questions. Yeah. So why did I do that? Because otherwise I always have to repeat, like, act as a teacher, do this, do that. Yeah. You can do it for one time, create a persona, and then talk. In this case, I created a Belgian Dutch tutor. I already gave it instructions of how to address me, how to work with the language, and so on, what kind of expertise it has. So I don't have to redo that every time I ask it a question. So how can you create that? So if you go into ChatGPT, and now I'm using the browser version, you can, first of all, before you create ones, there are already people who created personas. So first you can like browse and have a look what kind of personas exist. For example, if you want to look for a persona of a creative writer, you can just Google it in the ChatGPT search bar, or you can customize your ChatGPT. So this is something I did, and you see, I wrote here, I'm a beginner in Dutch language. This is all the information you have to know about me as a user to give me better answers. Because you will never get or hardly get the same answer. It's based it's a good thing, but sometimes it's also a bad thing. So this is something I would suggest also add so that you get good answers. And then when you want to create an own persona, you can click on My GTPs and then create a GTP. You see here, I already created 3 other ones. You see that I can also make them public. So you can use my persona of a Belgian Dutch tutor. Yeah. I'm not sure, probably if you Google it there, you can find it, or I can also give you the link to it. but you can create your own one. Yeah. So I would advise you to do that. Then if you focus on listening, there are also some methods, shadowing methods. Shadowing method is repeating. If somebody says a sentence, you repeat the sentence out loud. That's something I do in my classes. I use in my classes, my students always have to create key sentences at the end of this the session. And then in the beginning of the new session, I would repeat these key sentences with the student. So I would read the sentence and the student has to repeat the sentence out loud so I can correct and hear the pronunciation. It's not only for pronunciation, but it's also it's a way to yeah, it's a way of repeating structure and words. Video transcript. You can look at a video, imagine there's no subtitles. You can ask it to create transcripts for you. You can, and in this case, ChatGPT doesn't do that, but there's another tool I'll show you later. You can ask, and then this would be in a Copilot because that's the only way you can add external links, but you can go to Copilot, put in a YouTube link and ask Copilot, okay, ask me some questions about the video. Or if it's a long video, ask a summary of the video in Dutch, so that you can also practice on that and start from there. Yeah. Okay, so here I asked Copilot to give me a transcript of the video and also highlight the most important chapters in this case. This is not possible with ChatGPT. I also discovered a new tool, Nota, and there you can, yeah, it's I don't know, I think 2 or 3 times you can use it for free and then you have to pay. But so you can add a YouTube link and then it will automatically transcribe the video for you. Or you can, if it's not on YouTube, it's just a video you got somewhere, you can upload it and ask for transcripts in Dutch. All right. And the other method, shadowing, I just explained. Yeah, it's not really AI, but what you could use, what I just show you, you could now use the chat function, the speaking function in ChatGPT to help you with that, for example. Although, if you really want to focus on Dutch pronunciation, I would not recommend it yet. Yeah. I do it with Quizlet. It's nothing AI related, but that's also something I want to show that exists. For example, here in ChatGPT 3.5, if I wanted to focus on pronunciation, I said, okay, give me a list of some Dutch verbs and pronounce them for me. And it was really funny because, and this is a bit also what I noticed with the speaking function, that it speaks Dutch, but it has an American accent. So sometimes the words would be pronounced like, yeah, like house instead of huis. You see? So I would not recommend doing this with ChatGPT because your pronunciation will not improve on that part. I did discover another app. It's also based on AI. It's called Natural Reader. Be careful, the URL is Natural Readers with an S, because there's also another application, Natural Reader, which is not related. So naturalreaders.com. And why is this interesting? Because, and this is especially for people living in Belgium, interesting. Very often when we hear Dutch in applications, it's always the Dutch from the Netherlands. And if you really want to, if you live here in Belgium, you don't want to have the Dutch from the Netherlands accent. So here they have 2 voices that come from Belgium. So this is really very good. So what does it do? You can put a text in it, and then it will read out loud the text. So this can help you with improving your pronunciation. And you see that I could also select the pace. So if the reading goes too fast, you can make it slower and then do the shadowing technique and repeat the words out loud. Yeah. So that's also a very good way to practice your pronunciation. So speaking, yeah, like I showed you before, you can of course practice with dialogues based on a topic. You can do some role playing. I did. Is it in here? No, not yet. There was another app I showed last session. I'm not sure if it's in my slides. I forgot the name. Anyway, you could do a kind of role play with a person there to practice your speaking. But in the end, I didn't add it because you can use ChatGPT also for it, and the only advantage of the app was that you could save words, new words, but the pronunciation was very Dutch from the Netherlands. So yeah, I was not convinced with this app. All right, so you could also, for example, practice. So with the demonstration I just gave you, you can ask ChatGPT to discuss certain topics and ask you questions about it. The for or against, do a debate, ask about advantages, disadvantages about something, so that you can create a kind of discussion. Yeah, the same topics, the 4 opinions you can also use in this case, and also help you with structuring more your story. I imagine ChatGPT asks you to tell a story, and then you want it to help you with the link words in that story. So that's something you can do by speaking. Here is the app. Tokyo, that was the app I was talking about that I was not that convinced. But check it out. Maybe you're convinced, but I was not that convinced yet. They did have an option in it where you could practice your pronunciation, but I tried it and my pronunciation wasn't, I never got the full score. So I was a bit like, okay. Imagine you're learning Dutch and you're using that tool and it says, yeah, your pronunciation is like 3 on 5. But I also got a 3 on 5 sometimes. So yeah, I would take it with a pinch of salt. Do we say this in English? Een korreltje. Je moet het met een korreltje zout nemen. Okay, so yeah, the chat, creating your own ChatGPT bot, that's how it works. I already talked about that. And then I think we're there. This is the app. Yeah, Tokyo. You can see you work on pronunciation, the word book, and then you can do a role play, for example, or some free talk. But yeah, you can also do it with ChatGPT and it's for free. Here you have to pay for it. Yeah, that's what I mean. You have this is my pronunciation score. While I think, yeah, I'm a native speaker, so it's a bit funny. So then working on vocab, again, yeah, you can ask filling in the gap exercises, help you with word definition. So what's the definition of a word, and match it with the word itself. You could work with yeah, communicative situations with your vocabulary. So for example, you have a list of vocab words and you would ask it to create a context where you can use these words. Yeah, so so you know, like, okay, that word I can use in that context in this way, again in a dialogue maybe. All right. Another method, mnemonics, which I really like. So for example, this is because I really like visual things when I'm learning. So imagine this is a French word, shoe, and you don't remember the meaning for, it's difficult for you to remember the meaning. You know that shoe means cabbage, yeah? So, you know, yeah, shoe, it sounds like shoe in English. So you could ask ChatGPT or DALL-E. DALL-E is it's now integrated in ChatGPT. It creates images, and there are also many other AI tools who do create images, but okay, you can do it from ChatGPT. You can say, okay, create an image with cabbage on my feet, because my feet reminds me of shoe. So I remember, I have to pronounce it like shoe. So if you have words that are difficult to pronounce, this is something you can create to help yourself with. Yeah. This is another, yeah, I forgot to add that in the beginning of the presentation. So ideogram is kind of DALL-E. You can just type in what you want. So I typed in a flower in a field, a bloom in a veld, and it gave me this example. Yeah. So here, this is what I use to create this this image. Yeah. Then if you want to focus on grammar, yeah, you can ask it to, again, fill in the gaps. You have to be precise though. For example, yesterday I created an exercise on the perfectum, and maybe I can show you what it did. Well, anyway, I wanted to create a filling in the gap exercise, but then it's let me see. I can show you. Then it's yeah. Yeah, it's it puts the verbs in the wrong place. So I had to specify, okay, put it there so it's clear where you want to fill in the gaps. So I had to, like, yeah, be a bit more precise on the topic. I'm looking for the example now. Yeah, don't really find it. Okay, anyway, so be clear on how you want it. For example, I also, this is the final result. It's not the bad result, but the final result, where I asked, okay, you know, I want to an exercise on the perfectum, with verbs with a prefix, because that's not always easy to create a perfectum with verbs with a prefix, and I also want the English translation of the verb. Yeah. So in the beginning, it only gave me that's what it was. It only gave me the infinitives and not the example sentence, but I wanted to have it in an example sentence. That was what it was. But yeah, it doesn't really make sense to me to conjugate verbs not in a context. So there you go. That was what I created yesterday. Scramble the words. For example, if you have trouble with the sentence structure, you could say, okay, give me 10 sentences about a specific topic, and then scramble the words so that I can have to recreate the sentence structure. Or, for example, create a main sentence and a sub-sentence, a subclass, because there, you know, if you have a subclass, most of the time you have to put the verb at the end, which is always difficult when you're learning Dutch. So that's also something you can use. So here in this case, this is a filling in the gaps exercise. I asked it to create if you don't know the specific terminology, this is on the website of Takio. I found this list of terminology. So if you wanted to create an exercise for you using a specific grammar point, you can have a look at those grammar points and then help you with it. But you can also ask ChatGPT, give me a list of the grammar points and the terminology, and you can go start from there as well. All right. Okay. So I think it's 1 o'clock. I did it in 1 hour time. I had to be a bit more quick. But so let me know what you thought of it, because it's always scary. Everybody is silent, and then I don't know if you got some value out of this session, and it would be really interesting to know if you got something out of it. You can also unmute yourself and say it, of course, or you can do the book lab thing and then and vote there. Or use the chat. I see somebody is using the chat. Okay, dankjewel, Susanne. So, and also tell me what if there's one thing you remember or you're gonna take with you, what would it be? That's also interesting to know. You're welcome, Adam. Okay, I'm very happy that you enjoyed it.
Good afternoon, Marike.
Hello, Maria.
I am actually living in Netherlands, but thank you so much for everything you share with us. And I used to use normally AI every day for learn Dutch, but now you share otherwise and you open my eye for other view. Thank you so much. And I have other idea and I use other AI, but I can integrate because I am very have a compromise with Learn Dutch because I am living here, I am settling down here, and it's very important for my job, and I appreciate. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you very much. Yeah, great. All right. Okay. So if somebody else wants to share, it's your moment, but then I'm probably gonna finish off. Yeah, it's Suzanne. Yeah, it would be great to use a tool to help with making sentences. Yeah. I would just say try it out. Yeah, be creative. It's an amazing technology. So, and I'm speaking a bit against my how you say in Dutch, you say ik spreek tegen mijn eigen winkel. So but yeah, it's your 24-hour Dutch tutor assistant, so you make use of it, and then of course there will always be things where you need a real teacher for, but then you know that the time and the money you give to that teacher is will be effective and efficient, because you know that all the other stuff you can use ChatGPT for. All right, so well, the video will not be Andrea, you asked, will the video be online? So so you came into this session by logging into my my platform, my community platform. So that's also important. I will often organize some lunch chats, lunch bubbles, and some. I will also put on some courses there. Some will be paying, but other stuff will be free. So this is something I will offer for free. So once you're in the community, you can watch the replay from there. So I'll make it visible for everybody who was online in this session. So normally I think everybody who is here registered on the platform, so you will have access to the replay and the slides. All right. Okay. So without further ado, I will leave you to it. And graag gedaan. Yeah, hopefully talk soon. And if you're in the community, share, let me know how it works. Also, if you have a question, I'm there. You can also always ask me something. That's why I created it. So okay, I wish
Okay,
you a good
thank
week.
you.
You're welcome, Suzanne. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Bye-bye.
Bye, thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, Maria.